I lost a good friend last week, Guy Conkey, and I've really struggled with what to do. The grieving processes. I don't think I've had to go through like this before, and I wanted to do something. I didn't know if I wanted to keep my thoughts to myself, private, or share something, put something out there. I decided I really wanted to do this to offer some level of permanence to his memory and the wonderful person that he was. So, again, Guy and my friendship goes back to 1982, kindergarten. In fact, friendship, I don't think even is the right word for it. We need a new word. We need a new word that describes this, right? Because maybe brother, but even that seems to be not quite right. He was a person who, one of the few people who I think I could be my most authentic self, right? Be actually me. He was easy to be around. He was easy to talk to. We could just be. We didn't have to have an agenda. We didn't have to have an event that we actually were doing or a start and end time. We could just be, even now. And, you know, like any friendship, ours grew over time. Like I said, from the time we were 5 years old until we were into our 40s. And as I think back to the things that are so hard and painful, it's that someone whom you have so many stories with and inside jokes that only you share, those feel gone, right? It feels like a part of you goes along with them. Guy was always there. He was always there, at every important part of my life. He was there through the stupid things we did as young people and not so young people, and was often the voice of reason in those times, the one to ask, is that a good idea? Is that a good decision? And usually he was right. And having known somebody that long, I was reminded recently that to be seen and loved is pretty great. And because we had known each other so long, we were fully seen, and to be fully seen and still loved is just that much more special. And I know that whomever might be listening has their own memories of Guy and how they knew him, and some whatever relationship, whatever level you knew Guy on, you knew he was just a wonderful person, kind person. And maybe you knew him through elementary school. Maybe you remember him from living right across this the little stream from Jeffers Elementary School, the little walkway right across the baseball field to Guy's house. Maybe you bowled with Guy. Guy loved bowling. I was on a bowling team or a league with Guy from the time we were in 5th grade until just several years ago. And one of my great memories of that is we had joined a men's league, I think our junior year of high school. So we moved from Saturday morning bowling to like Wednesday night bowling, and that was a big deal. And it was around that time that we made our bet, our long time bet with each other for who could bowl that first 300 game. And in our mid-20s, at some point, mid to late 20s, one week, I bowled my 299 game so close. And in our little competitive series that we had with each other, I now held the high game and the high series, whatever that was. And the very next week, he got his 300. And I never caught him. He won our bet. Maybe you knew Guy through playing Saturday morning football. We always loved to be at the baseball field across from Spring Lake High School on Saturday mornings, played football, and Guy was a staple of those games. Maybe you were in band with Guy. Guy loved his tenor saxophone growing up, and he was a friend to everybody in band. Or maybe you followed or were a part of one of Guy's other bands, his stage bands. Maybe you were there the first time with, in 1995, the Spring Lake High School Talent Show. Guy and Eric Cooper rocking out on stage. That was the beginning to him spending a couple decades doing what he loved, playing the guitar up on stage with his bands. Maybe you spent time with Guy hanging out at the Collegiate Hall at MCC between classes. He never let me forget that in our political science class there, he scored higher than I did on both the pretest and the post-test, and reminded me that many years later. Maybe you worked with Guy. Guy had a lot of friends at work. I particularly remember his time working at Videomaster in Spring Lake. I used to go there after I got out of work, the coffee shop, 9, 10 o'clock at night, and just hang out with Guy, and we would just pop in a movie while people wandered in and out. And we would just watch a movie. Nobody loved or knew movies like Guy did. Or maybe you got to know Guy at Grand Valley, because Guy was a staple at our college parties. He and his friend Tyson would DJ our parties. He would carry up this giant speaker and his amp, his guitar, and then a little tiny Discman, and pop that on top of the amp, plug it all in, and the two of them would just let the music fly late into the night. He was a staple, and all my friends at Grand Valley knew him. Maybe you got to know Guy as we started adulting into our 20s and 30s, and the things that come with that. Maybe you were in his fantasy football leagues. Guy loved fantasy football and was a commissioner to multiple leagues I was in, including our longest term Friends League going back to 2001. And he always knew the right criticism for you when he thought you made a lousy pick, but it was always with love. Or he might have had a sound effect to play here or there, just to really make sure to send his message home. Maybe you went with Guy on our Guy's weekends away, or mancations, if you will, which we did for more than a decade, every summer. And the laughs. Guy knew how to make you laugh. This dry wit, sense of humor. I know laughing is good for your mental health, and I haven't laughed so hard as an adult as I did on those weekends away with Guy. Those are some of the things I'm going to miss most. I'm sure whomever might be watching this knew him in other, maybe those things, maybe other things, because Guy had so many friends. His friendship grew because everybody loved Guy. He was just easy to be around. You could be with him and talk with him about anything. And as I've read messages about Guy and received messages about Guy over the past 5 days, the most common theme, the thing that kept coming up over and over again, one word: kind. Guy was just kind to everybody. Everybody loved Guy. Nobody had a bad thing to say about him. And as I talked with some people recently about just how to grieve, how to deal with this, I was told that the best way to honor that person and to sort of keep their legacy and their memory alive is to know what they loved to do, know what they valued, and then value that thing and do that thing. And when you do, just remember that person. And so my challenge to myself, my challenge to you is, if you really want to honor God, be kind to everybody. Be kind to everybody every day, all the time. And when you do that, and you try to do that, you're going to see how hard it really is. And then you're going to know, you're really going to know what a special person he was. Because that's not easy. And Guy did it, and he lived it. Be well. Be well, my friend.